Behind me is the iconic Tamar railway bridge, designed, built, half erected at least by the genius engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel. I've seen this bridge from the Devon side at rail level and the Saltash side. I've only seen this view from a Brunel DVD. And when I went up to the car park there on the right, I was disappointed with the view. The trees have grown since I last took a picture there. And it was rather nostalgic for me because when my dad was alive, he brought us here when we were children in the Plymouth area, staying at Auntie Betty's house. And I saw the bridge that my dad indicated was Brunel, and it said I.K. Brunel, 1859 engineer, on the outside of the portals. This was Brunel's last major piece of work. It's the Royal Albert Bridge. Prince Albert came here to open the bridge, but Brunel sadly wasn't here because he was very, very ill. He came a few days later on an open truck on a train to look at his monumental piece of work just a few weeks before he was to die. His father, Sir Mark Brunel, deemed that this river couldn't be crossed by a bridge. It was going to be crossed by a ferry. And up till now, Cornwall had been isolated from the rest of the country by the picturesque and mighty river Tamar. But Brunel was interested in tubular construction, and he started this in Bristol, where he had tubular swing bridge across his lock gates, the Cumberland Basin. And then a bigger version was when he built the Chepstow Railway Bridge across the River Wye. Unfortunately, the tubes aren't there anymore, but the piers are. Now, this was the granddaddy of all his tubular constructions. The middle pier was sunk into the river. A cylinder would have been sunk in and all the water pumped out, and the concrete pier would have been built inside the cylinder. Then you had these piers being built, and these twin spans were jacked up on the trusses. And Brunel came here in the 1850s, and when they knew this fabulous engineer was coming here to lift this one on the right hand side, he used a system of flags which he would then continue to use at the launch of the Great Eastern about a year later. And there were thousands of people here watching this famous engineer, and the span was hoisted, jacked up, and you can see that if you didn't have that upper arch, the weight of the road, or the weight of the railroad, would have pulled the towers inwards. So he's got a pier, a tubular arch to push the towers back out to counterweight the downward force. Now, the challenge of this bridge, he had to have the bridge high enough to clear any shipping, mass of ships which were stipulated a certain height by the Admiralty. So the Royal Albert Bridge had about 10 trains a day passing over it in 1859. Brunel was paid £5,000 for his intricate designs and his work in manufacturing and assembling and building this bridge. But he had to use his assistant engineer to hoist the other section between the far trusses on the Cornwall side. Brunel was on an average salary about £1,200 a year, but with a £5,000 payment for this bridge, he did very well. But as you know, he worked himself to death, and a few days after he returned to Duke Street, London, he passed away in 1859 when this bridge was opened. As I finish the video, just glance at its fantastic construction, how Brunel's work was built to last.